Good morning, everybody. It's a chilly Monday morning in Arizona, and just getting started working with Flynn here. Flynn's a big, he's a big jumper. He's a show jumper. He's a super sweet, super nice horse. He just got back a few weeks ago from being at a rehab facility because he somehow stepped on a screw and got lodged in his foot and caused all kinds of problems for him. So he is back and just getting him ready to start jumping again and get back in training. He was going really well before he got hurt, and so now they're getting him back on that same path again. Ooh, back. So this guy I've worked on for about a year now, maybe a little bit more, and he was in a previous video. Actually, I was working on him when he was at that rehab facility, and I showed a video of him and I said that he had string halt because that was the diagnosis that the owner gave me, that the vet gave her. Since then, we have verified that it's not string halt, it is shivers. So a little bit of a different situation there. So when I pick up his back legs towards the end of the adjustment, you'll see that he picks the legs up very high and very abruptly back. And because he's so big, you know, that can sometimes be a little bit intimidating. But if you know that they've got something like shivers and string halt, they do the same thing with string halt. You know, you just have to be prepared for it and realize that he's not trying to kick. He's just got a neurological issue, and that's how he lifts his legs. You can see back here, he's not the most comfortable laterally flexing, and most of the time I would check, you know, both sides, and I'll do the same thing with him. But I've worked on him long enough to know that he just doesn't prefer this movement back here. And it's not just on one side, it's bilateral. So when I do this lateral flexion on him, either side, you can see he wants to walk away from it. And not all movements are tolerated equally by all horses. So you just have to figure out, you know, what they'll tolerate, and sometimes you just have to change the way you evaluate based on the horse's preferences. So he does let me do these reflexes. So he does really good with these. That's an extension reflex, and this is a pressure point reflex for flexion of the pelvis. Good boy. And he's a little less tolerant of flexion there, so I'm going to check his SI joints in flexion, and then I'll recheck back there. Come on. It's a problem with a big horse and a small stall. It's hard to keep them in the frame all the time. Good boy. But luckily he's a good boy. Listens really well. So I'm going to check this left SI joint first, and then I'll check the right. And he is a little bit high on the side, and that's because he's got his left leg forward. So I'm going to bring him back just one step. Try to square him up a little bit. There we go. That's what I want. And now he looks pretty level there. Now, a lot of people think that you can just look at the height of their hips, right? Everybody calls this the hips. It's not the hips. These are the SI joints up here. It's the sacropelvic area. You can't, a lot of people think you can just look at the height of the pelvis on both sides and determine if the horse is in or out. I hate those terms. Especially hate the term out. But basically people are looking up here and trying to determine if they can, or if their horse needs an adjustment based on how high they are from one side to the other. And sometimes you can do that, sure. But you have to be cautious when you do that because the bones are not symmetrical, right? If you measured his humerus on both sides, they're not going to be the same length. His cannon bones aren't going to be the same length. His eyes aren't set back in his skull the same distance. His ears aren't at the same spot on either side of the skull. Everything in the body is asymmetrical. So there's always compensations and there's always counterbalancing going on. And these guys up here aren't symmetrical either. The left side of the pelvis isn't the same size as the right side. There's all these differences from left to right, and you have to take those into consideration. So if I know that the bones aren't the same size, then how can I possibly look up there and go, oh, well, they're level, he must be fine, or they're not level, he must need an adjustment. So if you know your own horse and you know how your horse normally looks up there, and then all of a sudden with his feet squared, you see that there's a difference and he doesn't look the same up there as he normally does, then yes, that's an indication that there's a problem. But I can't just walk up to 10 horses that I don't know and go, oh, he's not level up there, he must need to be adjusted. I have to get up there and I have to motion palpate the joints and make sure that those joints are moving properly, not just look at it from a static position and go, oh yeah, that needs to be adjusted, because there might just be a bigger asymmetry up there than normal, and that might just be the normal position, or that might be how the pelvis just normally looks for that particular horse. So you always have to motion palpate. Good boy. You can easily look at a static structure and make assumptions about its positioning and make an incorrect adjustment. So you have to feel the horse. Same thing with the person. Oh. Boy, back. So I'm gonna motion palpate the left SI joint first. See how this one feels. It feels pretty good. I'm gonna check this other side. Now it doesn't take much, even though he's a big horse. It doesn't take much once you learn how to feel the movement of the joint. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. You can see that body language there. He's not real happy with this side. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna adjust this side. Oh, there we go. Big release out of that SI joint. Good boy. There we go. Good boy. That's good. Good boy. I love working on these big guys. Good morning, Shakar. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Good morning, JS. Welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the live. If you don't mind liking the video or sharing, that would be awesome. And if you're not following yet, please consider doing that. I've got a stretching course on my website. If you guys have your own horses and want to learn how to do some really good stretches for your horses, check out sporthorsechiropractic.com. The link is in the description. Oh, that's a good boy. Now he's standing there really nicely, tolerating that, so that's good. Or you can go to my website, sporthorsechiropractic.com. I think I have 25 or 26 stretches on that course, and they're great to do before you perform and also as a cool down if you choose to do that for your horses. So I'm going to flex his head around to his shoulders using a pressure point, and I want him to come around and touch where I'm pushing. So this is just a really easy pressure point here. Good boy. That's perfect. So this is just a nice way to check active range of motion. So active range of motion is when he does all the work. There we go. So he's the one moving his head around using his own muscles to do the work. That looked really, really good. And if they fail during active range of motion, then I'll check passive, which is me doing the work. So this is passive. This is me bringing his head around. Whereas when I hit the pressure point and he does it himself, that's active range of motion. but his movement looked really good on both sides. If they're good with that pressure point and they not only move around to touch that point, but they also move around properly to touch that point, then there's no reason to waste any time checking the same area. You can move on. Hey, good morning, Falco, I think. I'm sure I'm butchering that, Falco Farms. Thanks for joining the live. So now I'm going to check him in extension. An extension is just bringing his muzzle up to the ceiling like this. And I want to make sure that he can do that comfortably. And he's not fighting me, he's nice and loose. That felt really good. And a lot of times if a horse feels that easy in extension, then they're going to be restricted in flexion. Right? So if they can move super easy one way, they're probably going to be tighter going the other way. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to check his head down towards his chest. Yep, and you can see that he's wanting to go backwards, which is sometimes a normal response when you push on the muzzle. Try to fix that foot. There we go. But I just want him to stand here while I bring his head down. Oh, there we go. Good boy. Give him that for a second. Perfect. Oh, there it is. Love that big deep breath. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. He's such a sweet horse. Good thing because he's so huge. There we go, a little head shake, licking his lips. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. I can't help but try to clean their eyes when they've got that crustiness around them. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It's been super nice here. That's a good boy. All right, so I'm gonna check his legs. And a lot of the movements I'm gonna show you on the legs, at least the stretching portions, are also included on my equine stretching course. And a lot of the times I feel like, you know, if you actually stretched your horse's legs and just move them through their ranges of motion, that you'll fix 90% of your horse's movement issues just by giving them a really, really good stretch. And people always want to use modalities on their horses. They want to use a beamer, and they want to use a PMF, and they want to use red light and laser and all these things. But if you would just take, you know, 10, 15 minutes and stretch your horses out every day, every other day, you won't need to use any of that stuff. Stretching just does such amazing things for them. Good boy. And you can see how much they enjoy it. I mean, they'll start nuzzling you. There you go. Good boy. They'll start just standing here licking their lips when you have their leg off the ground. They really enjoy these. That's a good boy. There's been some times where I've had to work on horses in the middle of a show, and you know, depending on the horse, sometimes you don't want to adjust them when they don't have time to rest afterwards. So instead of doing a full adjustment, oh, there's a nice release in the knee. Instead of doing a full adjustment, I'll just come out and stretch them out, move the legs around like this. And just by stretching, especially with the front legs, you can get huge releases in the shoulders and in the knees. Just like for him, for instance, I just picked up that leg and flexed the knee, and that thing released. And that was a pretty deep release for just bringing the leg up and flexing the knee. Good boy. So, but not only like physical benefits, you know, the bonding that you get with your horses by doing this is incredible too. And if you have a horse that tends to be more flighty, kind of that more fight or flight, sympathetic state type of a horse, you can really help them calm down and help them relax by doing these stretches. Good boy. So it's super beneficial. And then of course, when you get on them, you'll feel the difference. Oh, there's a nice deep release in that fetlock. But we always think about, you know, human athletes getting stretched and getting worked out prior to them performing. But we just skip that on animals for some reason, and we give them a short little warm up, then we take them into the arena and make them work. You know, we don't give them the stretches and the bodily maintenance that they need to perform at their best. So when you do give them that, you can really see the difference. Hey, Happy, good morning. Yeah, the headset on Arabians is so different. And I think just because they're standing in such a flexed position, it puts a lot of tension on the muscles at the top of the neck, right? Because as they bring that head down, you know, they bring that muzzle down, it's putting a lot of pressure up here at the top of the neck, the base of the skull, where it meets the cervical spine. And what we call the suboccipital muscles will get really tight and spastic. So keeping that head nice and stretched in extension will help those muscles relax. So you're gonna see him now when I pick up his back legs, you're gonna see what he does. And he's got shivers. So he lifts his leg up really high and really quick, and he'll stand there and he'll shake real hard. And a lot of times on horses like this, I won't do an adjustment back there if they're not able to relax the leg and stop shaking while I'm holding it. Because you're not gonna adjust a hip on a horse this big when they're not able to relax that leg. But he does a really good job, and he lifts it up and he does shake for a while, but he usually relaxes enough to let me adjust it. So let's see what he does. See how high he lifts that leg up. But he has stopped shaking already. Oh, good boy. There we go. Yep. So if he does that and he needs to take it away, I just give it back to him. And we'll try a few times. Back. I'll try a few times. And, you know, if he's just not having it today, then I'll just wait till next time. You know, it's a bad idea to try to force these guys to do what you want. So I just try to work with them the best I can. If I can get everything done, great. If not, you know, I'm not going to push it and make an unsafe situation. I'll just wait till next time. There we go. All right, so let's try this side one more time. There we go, make it quick. Oh, good boy. There we go, good boy. Good boy. Come on, over. Good boy. Usually the trainer's out here, but I think they're out at a show. Good boy. Probably California, but hopefully not with the weather that they're going to be getting. Anam from Italy, thanks for watching. Good morning. You can start the stretching at any age. You do not have to wait until they're a certain age. And I think the sooner you start them, the better. You know, just keep in mind that weanlings and yearlings can still be quite cartilaginous, obviously, especially the weanlings. So, you know, all these stretches should just be really slow and really methodical, and just trying to feel out the horse, seeing what they're comfortable with, what they're not, and just stretching them just enough, you know, like just past their normal range. So if you try to bring that leg up and you feel like they're really tight before they get to that full range of motion, then try to bring them just past where they naturally want to stop and hold pressure. So everything is nice and easy. If they pull away from you, just let them go, let them have it, come back and try it again, with the goal over time of improving the range of motion, you know, to get it up to normal or even past normal, which we would call a paraphysiological space. And the point of stretching them past where they normally go, right, is if you can stretch them past where they move normally, then when they need to do their normal movements, it's super easy because they've already been stretched past that point. And you're not stretching them into the point where it's dangerous or where you're gonna hurt them. You're just stretching them past where they normally move when they're walking on their own. So if you can get them to move comfortably past their normal range, then when they're performing and they're in that normal range, it's just super, super easy for them. So you can really improve their movement like that. All right, so I'm gonna get this other side here. Let's see. Good boy, good boy. See, he's got a little concern on this side. So I'll keep that in mind when I lift this leg. It's all right, buddy. It's all right, buddy. Good boy. All right, let's see what he wants to do over here. Woohoo! So that's why with people with horses with shivers, you gotta be a little careful. Come on. Now, he's not being nasty. And he didn't kick me. He just kind of tapped me on my arm a little bit. We'll try that again. All right, let's go. There we go, good boy. Good boy. You know, and sometimes horses have when they have shivers, they have a good side. Oh, there's a nice stifle release there. They have a good side and a bad side. So as you can see with him, his good side is the right hind, the bad side is the left hind. So you just gotta also keep that in mind. Maybe one side you won't be able to stretch or adjust at all. The other side they don't have a problem with. So each horse is different. You gotta take each one case by case. And this is a TMJ stretch. So you can see when I push here, he starts to chew, really stretch that jaw, moving his tongue around, which is great because the muscles that control the tongue attach up under here at the hyoid. So you're stretching all those muscles there, making sure that hyoid apparatus is moving properly. And you can also see that he goes into extension at his pole. See his head coming down? So you're getting really good stretch at the pole. You're getting the muscles to stretch that control the movement of the tongue. And you're really getting a good stretch on those TMJs. And you'll see that after you do this, and you let this pressure go, they'll keep chewing for a little bit. And oftentimes, they'll start taking some really big, deep breaths. They'll start to yawn. Their eyes will get nice and soft. Their face will get nice and soft. It's just a really, really good stretch for them. It helps them get into a more paraphysiological state, which is just parasympathetic state, excuse me. And that's the state of resting and digesting. So you'll see them starting to chew a lot. You'll see their head drop. You'll start hearing a lot more bowel sounds. They'll take some big, deep breaths. They'll get real cuddly. It's just a really nice, relaxing thing for them, and stretches a lot of structures that they don't normally get stretched. Oh, hi, buddy. And he's liking the beard, apparently. Hey, buddy. This is Flynn Rider. If you're a Disney fan, you probably know the movie. Good boy. He's so good. All right. So he is all set. I'm supposed to have 3 more horses to do here this morning, but I didn't get a list. So I'm going to contact the trainer, get that list, and then I will go live as soon as I know which horse I'm working on. So thank you guys so much for joining the live. If you haven't hit that like button and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I love going live and showing you guys what I do and teaching you about your horses. So guys, have a wonderful morning if I don't see you on my next live, and thanks again for joining. Have a good day.